Hey, everybody. Welcome to the August 29th WEN-Talk. I am Haley Gray. I'm so excited to be here. I am the founder of the Women's Entrepreneur Network and excited to bring you this amazing group of speakers today. First up on our lineup today is Abby Dyer-Eminette. Welcome. So happy to have you here. I cannot wait to hear your presentation and listen to all of your amazing words of advice. So I can't wait to hear you.
Thanks, Haley. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Abby Dyer-Eminette, and I am an entrepreneur. I am someone who has been coaching and mentoring leaders for more than 20 years. I'm passionate about it. I also have a couple of businesses as an entrepreneur. I have a handmade leather goods and jewelry business that I've had for about 10 years. And then I have a coaching business where I help female entrepreneurs grow and lead with purpose, positivity, and a plan, right? So it's great to be positive. It's great to have a success mindset, but we can't get a business run without a plan, right? So I want to talk today about how we define success and what a success mindset looks like. So when we think about defining success, let's take a minute and think about you're packing for a trip, right? And so if you're anything like me, I have a lot of bags for my trip. And so I'm packing my bathroom bag and I'm packing my kitchen bag because we typically stay in an Airbnb. And then I realize I don't know where I'm going. So it's incredibly important for us as entrepreneurs to define success. What does that look like for you? Many of us use different tools. So you may have a vision board, and I am a huge fan of the vision board. I'm also a fan of writing down goals. So for me, I have my goals in a jar, and I go through them weekly to remind myself which things are really important to me. When I achieve them, I take them out. And then sometimes, and this happens for all of us, success and how we define it changes. So I even have one that I took out and I said, you know what? That doesn't align with what success looks like for me now. So I want you to take just a second and think about what success looks like for you. Now, over time, success has probably changed. So when you're growing up, success is often defined by our families. So what our parents want us to do. As we get older, success is defined by society and by our communities. So when I think about success for me, my parents were educators. They were both college professors, retired now, but both college professors. So you can imagine what success looked like in my family. Success looked like a college degree. Success looked like a corporate job after that college degree. Because when you're growing up, your family helps to define what success looks like. Well, for me, I had kind of a change, an epiphany about a year ago. And I started redefining what success looked like for me. And I love my corporate role. I have an amazing opportunity to work with some incredibly talented people. But if I look at success for me, and I look at the last year or two for us as a society and within my community, we've had some really difficult things happen. And I think many of us have realigned what we believe success looks like. We've had COVID, we've had a global pandemic. Here in the United States, we have had civil unrest like we haven't seen in 60 years. These things made me think. They made me wonder, have I defined success in the way that really speaks to my heart? And I had to say, there were other things I wanted to do. I wanted to help people. I saw female entrepreneurs like myself online all the time, being frustrated, being overwhelmed. And I knew that some of that had to do with mindset. Some of that had to do with baggage we're probably carrying around for our whole lives. And so I decided that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to help other people in a different way. Because I know that when we're frustrated and overwhelmed and we feel like we don't have enough time, we're losing money in our businesses. We're kind of spinning our wheels. So where do you start? If you're feeling that, if you're wanting to figure out what your success mindset looks like. Well, for me, it's always purpose. And I absolutely love working with people on purpose, on how you find your purpose. Now, you've probably heard people define this as your genius zone, or we talk about it in a lot of different ways. But ultimately, when you sit down and think about your purpose, you often think about, what did I want to do as a kid? Like before life got in the way and school and college and all of those things, what did I want to do when I was a kid? Or what am I really good at? What do people often ask my recipe for? Or what do people often tell me I'm good at? So it's important to take some time to think about what your purpose is. Because one of the things that happens is we're really, really motivated about our businesses. And if we don't have that purpose, if we don't understand why we're really helping people, then it's hard to keep going. It's hard to keep going some days, right? There's so much to do. You have families and work and your business and children and aging parents. So we have to figure out what our purpose is, and we really have to anchor on our purpose. As we do that, as we think about our businesses, we're going to have to do new things, right? Getting on camera, making courses. There's all of these new skills and things that we're gonna have to do as entrepreneurs that we've never done before. And when we begin to do that, we often feel some resistance. And that resistance can be from limiting beliefs and blocks that we've carried around with us our whole lives. Things like, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not thin enough. Nobody's going to listen to me. And if you're a high achieving person, I gladly accept the fact that I am a type A high achieving person. That is just part of my DNA. We often have imposter syndrome. We often doubt our own skills, even though we have years and years of experience. We doubt that we're good enough to be able to tell somebody else or help somebody else do something. So the first step in change is awareness. And so figuring out what limiting beliefs we have, what blocks we have, the fact that we have those is the very first step. Then we have to figure out what we do about that, right? And for me, those things are changeable. And I had to look up in the dictionary whether changeable was really a word. It is, but they are changeable. They are things that we can control. I really like the quote, if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And that is absolutely true. Now, why do we have some of those limiting beliefs and blocks? Again, often childhood. If you are like me, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and my story. I have been through multiple traumas. And so those things have impacted me and my ability to think that I'm good enough and smart enough, no matter how hard I work. So I'm speaking truly from experience. I'm speaking from an Army kid who was always the new kid and was pretty consistently bullied, right? We carry those things. We carry those things on our back with us as we go in our lives. And so it really takes actions, awareness, changing in order to be able to manage those things. For me, that bullying and that trauma made me a fan of the underdog. So I don't know where you stand on this, but for me, I'm a fan of the underdog. And as I was growing up, my dad taught at North Carolina State University. And at that time, they had amazing college basketball going on in the ACC. And you may have heard of one of the folks that was playing basketball at that time, and that was Michael Jordan, right? Of course, he wasn't Michael Jordan of Air Jordan at the time, but he was a phenomenal basketball player. And he is a phenomenal basketball player, philanthropist, and person. But for me, I didn't dislike Michael Jordan, but I liked Spud Webb. Spud Webb was the underdog. He was a 5'6" point guard in a world of 6'1" point guards. He was on a national championship team in 1983, and he won a NBA slam dunk contest in 1986. I think some of my trauma, some of my baggage makes me a fan of the underdog. And so I have always been a fan of the underdog. That being the case, whether you're an underdog or not, we have to decide what our success path looks like. If we don't decide what our purpose is and what success looks like for us, we end up kind of walking around in circles and not being able to achieve all of the amazing things that we want to achieve, especially as entrepreneurs, because you're doing it yourself, right? There is no company and HR department and finance department to help you. It's all you. Though I would encourage you not to go alone and hire in support. And this particular forum is an amazing place to have accountability and to have relationships and networking. So the fact that you're here already tells me that you're not completely going it alone, that you recognize the fact that you need support and other people to help you on your journey. For me, those traumas and bullying left me sad, left me angry as a person. And I had a pivotal moment when I graduated from college and decided that I didn't want that. I didn't want to be that. I wanted something different for my life. And so I started reading. And one of the first books that I read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I started feeding my mind with really positive things. Books for sure. And I don't know about you, anybody else out there a fan of positive quotes? I absolutely love them. I publish them all the time. I have them all around my office. But that positivity, that feeding our mind with positive thoughts is something we need in order to achieve success when there are so many of these negative things coming in and kind of bombarding us every day, right? In the media and social media, in addition to whatever you're carrying with you. So as I think about quotes, I have so many of them that I love. We could be here all day. But I also have a 5-year-old exceptional needs son. And so we watch a lot of Disney. I don't know about you. We watch a lot of Disney here at my house. And so I'm going to share a couple of quotes today that are from Disney. And they are, my son has autism. And so there's a lot of repetitive watching of movies. And so I've seen many of them many times. But one of my favorites right now is The Change Starts With You. And that's from Zootopia. And I really believe that. We have to take that first step. And whether for you that is reading or finding purpose or determining what your success or your big dream looks like, the change starts with us, with you. The next is do the next right thing. And again, the more you get to know me, the more you will realize that my compass goes due north. From a fairness perspective, from a loyalty perspective, doing the right thing is incredibly important. So do the next right thing. Take the next right step for you and for your business and for your mindset. I could not talk about a success mindset and not talk about goal setting. And this is really one of my kind of genius zone spots. I love it. I enjoy working with people on it. Priorities, to-do lists. I'm going to give you a little tip today. One of the ways that I really keep all of my goals in mind is that on my to-do list, the one that I use every day, I put my number one goal for the year at the very top so that I never lose sight of what that goal is. For me this year, it's to create a course, a mini course or a masterclass, some kind of product to be able to sell. That's at the top of my list. The next things that are on my list are my top 3 priorities for the month. So for this month, it was content for my social media. It was worksheets and checklists that I can share to help people just because I really want to help female entrepreneurs build a business and life that lights them up. And being here, and sharing with you some tips that can help you with your success mindset. So goal setting is important. And I encourage you, similar to my jar, to write down your goals. It really fundamentally makes a difference. So what else? Take action. Take action on making sure that you are feeding your mind with positivity. Make sure that you're showing gratitude. Gratitude is really important to a success mindset. We are all incredibly lucky. And the more we put into perspective the things that are really positive in our lives, the better we feel about our lives. So gratitude is incredibly important. Now, I don't know about you. Have you ever seen a show, Who Do You Think You Are? It used to be on, I don't think it's on anymore, but it was all about finding out where you came from. So where did your ancestors come from? So for me, that led me to a DNA test through Ancestry. And my top 3 ancestry locations were Northern European, Scottish, and German. Well, when I found that out, it wasn't a big surprise. My grandfather's parents were immigrants from Germany, and I have found that I'm really interested in German history. So anytime I hear anything related to Germany, my ears kind of perk up. Well, I was reading a book recently, The Difference Maker by John Maxwell, and it talked about a physician named Viktor Frankl, who was in Vienna, and he and his family, his wife was pregnant, and his brother and his parents were put into a concentration camp because they were Jewish. And I found him particularly important as it relates to gratitude, because even after the most difficult of circumstances, he came out with a mindset of gratitude. And I'm going to read you something. In the New York Times, this was a quote from Viktor Frankl. "The last of the human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." Amazing, right? Somebody who has been through so much trauma and so much sadness still came out on the other side believing that, truly believing that. So from a lifelong learner perspective, and as you can tell, I've already shown you several books. I have another one, Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. If you haven't read this, it is tremendous. But she talks about the fact that our society is kind of the society of never enough. And I think that goes back to limiting beliefs and blocks. We're kind of challenged and bombarded in our society. And so we really need, from a transformation perspective, to be filling our minds with really positive thoughts. Whether that is a book or a quote, we need that. We need that transformation. I find transformations really interesting. And one of the ones that I find very interesting that I heard about recently was retrofitting World War II planes. And so these were bomb planes in World War II, and they were retrofitted to be tankers, to be firefighters in California. So they served their purpose as a plane in World War II, and then they were transformed into another purpose. And I think that that is possible as well. I talked earlier about the fact that don't go it alone, right? Get accountability partners, use tools like books and quotes in order to help. We've talked about defining success. You need to know where you're going. We've talked about purpose, limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome, figuring out what really drives you and motivates you and what you're really good at and can share with other people. We talked about actions, so books, quotes, goal setting, all of those things that can help you. We've talked about gratitude, being thankful, and having perspective about the good things in our lives. And I wanted to say thank you for having me here today, Haley. I am Abby Dyer Eminette. You can find me on social media, Lead with Positivity. I have a Facebook group, or info@leadwithpositivity.com. Thanks,
I
Haley.
love this so much. Thank you. This has been awesome. It's amazing to me how much, what we tell ourselves, what we think, and how we think. And these are entirely things that we get to control, really influences the outcome.
It does.
It makes all the difference in the world. So thank you for doing this talk today. I really appreciate the talk. I really appreciate you, and I'm so grateful. What is your website again, and how does somebody find you one more time?
Sure. My website is www.leadwithpositivity.com, or my email is info@leadwithpositivity.com.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Haley.
I appreciate it. And now we're going to try to do some magic poofing here and see if I can do this. Thank you. Welcome, Meg.
Hello, darling.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. For those of you that don't know, this is my friend and partner in crime, Meg Campbell. And I am so excited to have her here today. And I cannot wait to hear what you're going to talk about today. And with that, I am going to give the stage to you.
Thank you, darling. It is a lot of fun when Haley says, okay, you can have a slot. Talk about what you want to talk about. This is going to be fun. For those of you who do not know me, I am Meg Campbell. I am the owner of Meg Campbell Designs, and I am also the host of Look What Meg Found. Both of those would not be where they are if I had not learned from Haley about the power of relationship marketing. And I used to hear that word and that phrase, and I'm like, okay. And the truth of the matter is it's not. It's not. Relationship marketing is the fine art of building a reputation online where people feel like they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And if you can nail those three factors, you will turn people into raving fans. Now, personally, I am in a product-based business. I work with and have a lot of friends in the service-based industry as well. And this works for any type of business, no matter whether you sell products, whether you offer services, it doesn't matter. Relationship marketing works on all levels with all types of marketing, all types of businesses, because what you do, the entire goal of relationship marketing is making people feel like they matter to you, like they have value. So people come onto your business page, your website, into your inbox, onto your landing page. They check out your offer. They check out whatever product you've posted because they feel like they know you. They feel like not only do they know you, but in a lot of ways you're friends and they trust you. And it's not that hard to do. It's really not. The key to relationship marketing is showing up. If your goal is to build your business and to reach more people, then step one, you have to be visible. Now, I will break this down onto Facebook because that is where I live. Ask my husband, he'll tell you I live on Facebook. But have a business page, a group, a place that is not your personal profile that people can look for your business. And then go post on that consistently. And don't just post, here's a product that I made, but don't just post, I'm offering coaching packages. Make posts that offer value. Yes, I make solar lanterns, but I can also explain to you why solar lanterns can be life-changing for you. I can give you ideas on where to use them, how to use them. Oh, you don't get enough sun to work a solar lantern? That's okay. I got a workaround for you. And that's what people need to see. They need to see. If you are a coach for high level or high performance athletes, offer value, offer small tips. If you are a coach for social media and how to grow your social media, offer small tips. Don't sell the farm. Don't give them everything, but give them small workable tips. If you offer SEO services, explain to the world why SEO is important. That is the whole basis of it. People need to know that they can come to you not only for services and products, but they need to know that you are willing to help them with an issue. Because if they can't see where they will get value from you, they will go to the next person who does what you do, who makes them feel like they can get value. It's a long game. Building that relationship is a long game. I have been focused on relationship marketing for just under 18 months. I am seeing the traction. I am seeing that things are growing. And it's simply because people see that I can offer a value. Now, I hear what you're going to say, which is okay. I post all the time, but nobody interacts. I'm going to ask you a question, and feel free to fire up the comments about it. It's fine. It does not hurt my feelings in the least. Do you interact with other businesses' posts? Do you make a point every day, every couple of days, to sit down and go through other small businesses' posts and interact with them? Now, I hear the next thing. I have done more than one talk on this, and I hear the next thing you're going to say, which is, I don't have time to do that. I'm going to tell you right now, yes, you do. It's as simple as making a list of businesses that you want to interact with. Now, that list can be as small as 10. That list can look a lot like mine, which is edging up over 300. But there's a reason that you do this. If you want your business to grow, then you must be out there helping other people be visible as well. But it is very simple. I have a list. I've done mine in Google Sheets so that I can have the name of the business owner, the business name, and the link to their Facebook page so that I don't get sucked down the Facebook rabbit hole of I got distracted. I fix my morning cup of coffee. We have Winnie the Pooh today. And I start at the top of the list or wherever I stopped yesterday. And in the time it takes me to drink this cup of coffee, I go down the list. I click on the link. It opens the page. I go interact with the posts that I haven't seen before. I do a minimum of 3. I leave reactions. Either I leave the heart, the wow, or the care. I leave comments I try to do full sentences, but if it's not full sentences, then it's 3 or 4 words. It's more than just one word. I leave GIFs or GIFs. Y'all feel free to correct me. I have no idea how to say that right. I leave the cool little pictures that dance around. I'm not a tech person if you haven't figured it out. But I go down the list. I spend 15 minutes on those business pages. I make a note on a little sticky note that with the name of the last business I did today, and I stick it in the corner of my computer monitor. My computer monitor looks like a bulletin board with all of my sticky notes. But that lets me know where to come back tomorrow to start again in the time it takes me to drink my cup of coffee. What that does is that generates a buzz on their Facebook page because their posts are getting seen and commented and reacted to. So they will get seen by more people. And honestly, when it comes to relationship marketing, a lot of it is karma. That what you put out is that what you get back. So if you make a concerted effort to interact with other people's pages, then you will be able to see that start to come back to you. If you want to make a very concentrated effort on that, then you build an engagement pod. That is a group of people who have come together to engage on each other's pages on a regular basis. Again, if you create an engagement pod, you don't need to do every single page every day, because y'all ain't nobody got time for that. We don't. So engage with other people's pages in the time it takes you to drink a cup of coffee, a glass of water, a cup of tea, whatever your drink is. And it takes me about 15 minutes to suck down a cup of coffee. So that's 15 minutes. The next thing I do is I go fix a second cup of coffee. And then I go into groups. And I have entirely too many groups that I'm a part of. But I have 4 that I'm highly active in. 2 I own, 1 I admin. Well, 2 I own, 2 I admin for. But I go in and I set a timer in each group, and I split 15 minutes between 4 groups. And I interact with posts. If there are posts where I can offer value, I do. But I am solely focused on getting into the group and interacting and offering value and advice that will be useful to people that on things that I know how to do. Now, I am not going to offer you advice on how to build a website. Ain't doing it. Ain't doing it. Y'all don't want me to. You don't want my advice on that either. But I am going to help you with things like how to increase visibility. Why do I make these posts and no one responds? And that's where it all starts to come together. Because if you are in Women's Entrepreneur Network, then you have probably seen me pop up and comment. You've seen me ask sometimes what seems like random questions, but they're not. There's always a purpose. But you become visible. You become a person that people know they can go ask a question of. I get a lot. How do I promote my product-based business? I can talk to you about that till I'm blue in the face. That's literally, I have been down a rabbit hole for 18 months and I have no intention of getting out of it, of how to effectively promote a product-based business on Facebook. That's where I shine. So people come to me and they ask me that. People will ask me for crafting advice. I'm a handcrafter. A lot of times I go, I have no idea, but let me connect you with so-and-so. And that's the other thing that you need to master is referrals. The art of referring people to other people, because I am not an expert in very many things. I'm not going to lie. If you want to know how to make a mess with glitter, I'm your girl. If you want to know advice on product-based businesses and increasing your visibility, I'm your girl. You want help with SEO and a website? I'm going to tell you, you need to talk to my friend Haley and let me connect you to. You need advice on health? Well, let me connect you with my friend Aida. You need someone who makes glitter and epoxy tumblers. Fine, let me connect you with this chick. Because I and you cannot be an expert in all things all the time. So there is a definite power in building the relationships of referral networks, where you connect people with the people that you know who can serve their need, who can answer their questions. And at the same time, people are going to do the same for you. I talk to small business owners all of the time because they get referred to me. I get referrals. Hey, that's a question you should go ask Meg. And that's how it all works. I mean, I own 2 businesses. Y'all heard me say that in the beginning. So people are looking for unique outdoor lighting. They're going to probably be sent to me to talk to me. And if I can't do what they're looking for, then I just send them on to the next person, because my referral network is like this big and I keep it that way on purpose. But bottom line is, the key to relationship marketing is to build relationships. And by building relationships, I mean literally going out and building relationships. People will not send you referrals if they do not know you, like you, and trust you. If they have not had multiple conversations with you, people will not purchase from you, whether it's goods or service, unless they feel like they can know, like, and trust. And in the product-based world, I'll say that can be a little hit and miss. People will like what you make and they'll make an order, but you may never see or hear from them again. I can count on, one finger the amount of orders I have received from people that I did not personally know that have never come back around off of that first order. Now, they may be lurking. They may be going to come back. But my repeat customers, my raving fans, which are ultimately what we all need, are the ones that I have taken the time to get to know. And that is exactly what you have to do. So my suggestion for you is, if you are looking for more visibility, is make a list of, start with people that you know. Make a list of who you know that runs a small business that is active on social media, and start your day, or at whatever point during the day. I do it in the morning because that's when my brain's still working. At some point during the day, take the time to go interact with their pages. Either use the cup of coffee method or set a timer for 15 minutes and go interact with their pages so that they develop more visibility. They will start to notice that, that you're always on my page. So they're going to start going to your page and interacting with your page because you're interacting with theirs. You're going to start building the referral network. That's exactly how that goes, is that you start engaging with their pages. They start engaging with yours. They start getting to know you. You start getting to know them. And you start referring people to each other. And honestly, referrals in business are worth their weight in gold. Because if I tell someone that I know an author who has written a killer book about cats, that because you're a cat lover, you will love, you are 100% more likely to actually go check out said author. By the way, that's Tish. You guys all know her. Because I said that you needed to go check this out because you know me and you trust me. And that is, it's completely that simple. You must build a relationship with people that they know, like, and trust. And if they don't do that, then you're going to get a lot of one-time buyers who don't come back, and repeat business, and people who love your business enough to refer it to other people are ultimately what we need. So if you guys would like to have a more in-depth conversation or connect with me so we can start building engagement and working with each other on this, I'm really easy to find. I'm on Facebook as Meg Campbell. I always want new Facebook friends. I also own Meg Campbell Designs and Look What Meg Found. Both of those are on Facebook. All you got to do is type in Meg Campbell Designs, Look What Meg Found, and it will bring me right up. And you can come hang out with me and see what crazy shenanigans I'm getting up to. Whew. Let me grab a drink. I have no fluids.
You have no fluids, huh? That was awesome. And
thank you.
Thank you for covering those topics, because to me, that is one of the most important things. I think a lot of times we forget that, in order to get, you have to give a little.
Yes. And it is very much the giver's gain. And that is exactly what you taught me.
Thank you. I have the book.
I need to get that book. Send me the link to that when we're done with all this, because I need that book.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of the most important things is keeping up with that engagement with other people. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't really want to. And then they're like, and then in the next breath, it's like, well, all of my Facebook pages and all of my accounts are dead anyway.
Oh. And that's one of the biggest pushbacks that I get is I don't have time. Oh, yes, you do, because it fits in your coffee cup. If it doesn't fit in the coffee cup, then it's too much and you do it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, that's definitely one of the things. I hear a lot of people who say, I don't have time for that. And look, I understand lack of time. I understand crazy schedules. I understand kids, competing demands, all of that. And what I've learned is that in life and in business, we will do the things that are the most important to us.
Absolutely.
And those things which are not as important are not going to happen.
That's exactly it. And you can always find time. I mean, how much time do you spend, kids, sitting in a pickup line, sitting in a drop-off line, waiting on your kid to finish this activity? That is time that you can be interacting, offering value, and engaging. And it's literally, like you said, it's about finding time.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that one of the issues too is our next guest is trying to join. It's really that if it's really important to you, if going to church is important to you, if sleep is important to you, if exercise is important to you, if nutrition is important to you, those things will have a way of happening. And if they're not as important to you, we find every which way under the sun to make them not happen or find other things to do. Just as, hey, I don't really feel like eating well today, so I'm going to eat Oreos instead. It's a choice.
Yes, it's a choice. And it's a choice I'm very guilty of making. I don't want that. I'm going to have a bag of chips instead.
Yep. Which is an excellent segue to our next speaker. And thank you, Meg, for joining me today. This has been awesome. And I cannot wait to see what else you do. So welcome to our next speaker. Hey, Audria.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I am doing good. You are not sounding super loud. So can you get closer to your microphone?
Possibly. Is this helping? Is that better?
That is a little bit better.
All right. Good deal.
Cool. And with that, I am going to remove myself and make you go poof and be the big person on the screen. So welcome to Audria with Bethesda Hemp. I cannot wait to hear you talking about your topic today. I think Meg may have set it up and served it for you here. So
yeah, a little.
Here we go.
And all those things. So I'm going to ball it into one. So I'm trying to talk about health. And I think that health has a lot of different avenues in which it takes for us to be healthy. Sometimes we do just want those Oreo cookies, like Meg said, and we decide today I'm going to do Oreo cookies. And, I don't think that's necessarily always bad unless your body itself is just having a real deal with sugar, because we got to nourish our soul and our mind and our spirit. These are all things that have to take place in order for health to take place. And it's a lot of work to say no, say no, say no, say no again. And I'm going to say no again. And I'm not going to have sugar again. And I'm not going to have sugar again. So how do we find the yeses within all the midst of saying no? Because really what we've thought we've come to create health is, I just got to say no. I just got to say no. I just got to say no. And we exhaust ourselves saying no. So we're like, okay, I'm going to have Oreos because I'm going to say yes to that thing this time because I'm sick and tired of saying no. And it's exhausting because I don't want to go make sure I have something in place of Oreos, and it feels really good because sugar makes us feel really good for a little bit. And some of us, we get really low sugar and that's it. So how do we say yes? We say yes to ourselves. And she said, if we say yes, if we start learning to say yes, we start learning to say, oh yes, I can have monk fruit. Yes, I can be here. I don't have to be doing anymore. I can stay right here and I can be myself. And that's in itself can be our spiritual health. I can just be here and I'm okay because it's not required that I do anything to be okay. Sometimes we have our checklists, our religious checklists, and sometimes we don't even realize that our checklist is our health. Like if I don't check off, I haven't had sugar, I swam 30 minutes, or I blah, blah, blah. And we're doing this checklist and we're doing it so that we can think we're being healthy. Maybe we need to check our checklist and see, is that driving us? And that's driving us outside of our health, because our mental health is now trying to keep this checklist, keep everything going, keep my health up, and we're exhausting ourselves. And that's not healthy, because now we're just like, ooh, what did I just do? Why am I so tired? I'm tired of keeping a checklist, tired of making sure I followed all the rules to make sure I'm healthy. And what do I do instead? So here's what we do instead. We replace our checklist with things we want. So for me, I had to replace my sugar with monk fruit. I had to replace my running with being okay that things didn't get done today, and really knowing I want to be okay. What we all want is to know that we're okay, to know that we're okay right now, and to know that we're going to be okay in the future. And that's why our checklists drive us, because if we checked it off, then we can tell our body, we can tell our brain, we can tell our mind that we're okay. And if we've checked all those off, then somehow we've come to terms that this makes us okay. But what if that's making you not okay? It's driving you every day. So how we do that is we say, okay, monk fruit's okay. For me, that's a big one, because now I don't have to say no to sugar. I can be like, oh, okay, I want cookies tonight. So I'm going to make my oatmeal cookies with chocolate chips that are made with stevia. And I'm going to eat them in a place where I can be spiritually okay, because I know that it's okay for me to not get to that email today. I can do it tomorrow. And it really is going to be okay. This one email, I think sometimes we get in this place like, if I don't do that email tonight, my business is going to fail tomorrow. Or, me and my husband even did that. Like, if we take this vacation, this little vacation this next week, we're going to lose a whole week's worth of work. And then, our business is going to fail. Our business is not going to fail in 1 week. Your body is not going to fail completely in 1 week or a day or that one mishap. Because what we can do is, if we're eating 20 meals that are really good for us and we do one meal that's not, that one meal is not necessarily going to destroy all the other work we've done. So I'm going to say yes to one meal a week that gets to be whatever I think I can handle. I know for some of us that's less than others, because our health is really bad, or your health is really bad. I'm going to say yes to taking time for myself spiritually, and knowing that the world is going to be okay. It's really coming to terms with that. Like, it's going to be okay. We're in a big ball of angst. The world is changing. I really think we're in an eon. We're in the age of Aquarius. I really think the age is changing. It is turning to a place where the Spirit is about to be poured out upon the people. And in that, every age throughout history, there has been turmoil. It comes with some tumultuous times up in the earth. But if we can dial down into understanding that those times are actually bringing a place where there is spiritual awakening for people, that awakening is going to say, guess what? It's okay to just be here. It's okay to just be you. It's okay. I know I'm saying this a lot, but really, honestly, how many of us have felt okay through this whole pandemic, through the political ups and downs and everything? We are all kind of like hanging on, hoping that everything is okay, but we're going to make it through this. And we're going to speed ourselves by telling ourselves this, telling ourselves that we're okay, and the universe is going to be okay. And we're going to keep on turning. Big oil's going to keep on burning. And the world, the fire, we didn't start it, keeps on burning, but it keeps turning. And we get to go. And we get to keep coming. And we're going to nourish our gut. That's where we feel all this angst, is in our gut. If you don't know how to nourish your gut with good foods, then let's learn just a little bit here in the next few minutes. Are you eating things that disturb your gut? And if you are, what can you replace them with? monk fruit is a good replacement for sugar. Bread, get almond flours, get coconut flours, get some nomnom.com. She has the best bread recipes. I love her pumpkin bread recipe. Get that in get some prebiotics, get some probiotics, get it nourished. Take time for yourself because you are the self, you are you. Take your time. Once you got some minutes, it doesn't take hours to be spiritually aware. You can be 1 minute an hour. Sometimes can set yourself up for the next hour. Just be like 1 minute. I'm going to be aware that I'm okay and the world's okay. I have something to offer the world. The world has something to offer me, and that is simply my presence. Being here, being me, saying who I am, saying who you are, learning who you are, listening to one another, unburdening our things with our friends, and yet we're unburdening it in the middle, not upon each other. And we're letting the earth have it so that we can be nourished from each other's company. We can be nourished from each other's wealth, and our guts can be nourished by good foods like broccoli and kale and lettuce, tomatoes, and onions. All of these prebiotics, onions and garlic, good prebiotics. And then we're going to keeping our gut nourished is also going to help us unload that ball of anxiety, because when it's not nourished, that anxiousness can actually be more from a physical standpoint, not just a mental standpoint. But we want to see you well, so well. We want to see all parts of you well. So please take time for yourself to be okay. And that is honestly where we need to come to. Like, you know what? I've made it on this earth, however many years old you are. Remind yourself of the hard things you've come through and that you're still here and you're still going and things are still improving and life is growing for you. Remind your body that you are a spirit and that you are life is coming from your spirit. Remind your body that so it knows that it is still in contact with the spirit, and it will bring life to you, and it will bring health to your family, and it will bring prosperity to your table because you are in tune with it and you are communicating to your body through your spirit. Remember that you are not just body, you are not just earth, not just here for a short time, but you are here for an eternity. Remind yourself of that. Remind your body of who you are, that you are spirit, you are whole, you are well, you are resilient, that you are being. You are not a human doing, and you are not going to drive yourself by all your lists and be okay. Remind your body that you are okay, and you're going to do your list out of being who you are, which is a beautiful, brilliant being that is here to shed light to the world. That is who you are. You're not a body here to do your list and check it off every day. You are a spirit with light and life and liberty and being. And you can just sit there for a minute in that every day if you need to. Set up your next hour with reminding yourself that this is who you are. These are the things that you're here to be and share with other people. And then your doing can expand out of that, jump into the next thing for yourself and for the next person, because it's coming from here, not from here, so that we can just live one to another, giving of ourselves, of who we are, not out of a drive that's going to get us forward. And that's going to feed your gut health, because your gut's going to start recognizing who you are, who you're being. And then you're going to want to eat the good things because you're realizing you're doing that from who you are, not trying to make yourself someone different, but recognizing who you really are, going to tell your body how to behave. And we are going to tell our body it can be well, become well, because we already are well, that we are an eternal being that has no end. And that spirit is always coming from a place of health. So just hone into that. Take a minute. Breathe in deeply. Remind yourself. Breathe out. Fill in your stomach. Breathe out. Fill in your spirit. Feel your spirit. Realize that your spirit is bigger than your body, is bigger than who you can even imagine, and that you are here to feed the world with your presence, and then live out of that. And you're going to be so much more at peace, so much more at peace with the world. It can blow up around you because you know that you're here to bring it life, to bring it liberty, to bring it the freedom, to bring it the expression that you are. And then you're going to find those replacements, those things that you can say yes to, because you're not saying, I just got to get this thing done. I am going to say yes to who I am. And then my life is going to spring forth out of that. And I'm going to go make me a cool dessert, because I know that that is actually feeding who I am. And it's feeding the health that I spring from. And it's going to feel like it's in perfect harmony with who you are, and not that thing that's like disconnected. And I've just got to do it. And I'm just going to go lay my head down, because you are valuable. You are worth taking that time, that minute for every hour. You are here for a reason and a purpose, and that is not to do your list. That is to share who you are with yourself first. Sometimes we have to learn to do that. Just share ourselves with ourselves, because maybe we have been so disconnected we forgot who we are. So just take a few minutes and find out who that is. If you've forgotten, I had to remember that I love to swim and I love to dance, because I got so busy doing everything to save my family and save everybody from certain destruction, whatever my mind was telling me at the time, and had to remember, no, I love to dance, I love to swim, I love to help people be healthy. And when I could remember that, my life sprang forth from that, and things started to grow, and they were wonderful. And it was such a blessing to me to finally realize I could breathe in. I could go take a dance class and the world wasn't going to fall apart. And I could go swimming in my backyard, get that pool, put it out there, and remember that this is where I connect with who I am first, so that I can be the light, so you can be the light. So just take a few minutes, even if you need to, and just ask yourself, who am I again? Who do I remember being before I had to do? What do I remember falling into and feeling myself completely free in that moment? And get back to that place so that your life can spring from who you are and not from what you are doing. And I just want to just bless you right now to let you know that you can find this place. You truly are a blessing on this earth. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. What you have to offer is unique to you, and no one can take that away from you. The only thing is we can begin disconnected from it. So please find that place where you are connected to yourself, so you can spring forth and be who you are. So I am so glad that you came to join us and to hear us and to be with us. And I love that we have gotten to spend this time together. Hey, Haley.
Hey there.
Hey.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And I love the message. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And just how important this stuff is. The self-care, the mindset, putting ourselves first has to happen.
It has to. You'll have nothing left. It won't be there. So,
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this.
welcome.
I really appreciate it. And how does somebody get in touch with you?
They can call me at 910-409-0886, or they can go to BethesdaHemp.com, and my information will be there as well, or on
Awesome.
Bethesda Hemp at Facebook.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you. And our next speaker is getting ready to join us. So she is looking at me, and I am going
I
to
don't know how to
play.
exit. Sorry.
I got it. I got
Okay.
you. Hello, Katerina. Hello, hello.
Happy to be with you. Hello, hello.
Happy to be with you here early on a Sunday morning,
Yes.
because it is 11 a.m. your time.
Yes, it is. Which
And
is earlier than I like, my friend, but that's okay.
you poor thing, you poor
No,
thing.
it's good. It's good. It's good.
Awesome. I am so blissing to have my friend Katerina Rando here today. And as Tish Weber says, bing, bing, bing.
Bing, bing, bing. Yay.
So we are so happy to have you here and excited and ready to have you speak. And I cannot wait to hear your amazing message.
Well, thank you, Haley. You know, it's always wonderful to be with you and all the WEN ladies. And I do want to say, you know, I have been using Audria's product to help me get to sleep at night, and it is super working. Audria, bing, bing, love to you. I just thought I would give a shout out since she was the last speaker. All right, everybody, let's take a deep breath. We are talking this morning about selling with ease and authenticity. And that's the thing. Why do we start our business? We start our business because we want to be of service, right? We have something that we want to help people with, like just like Audria. She wants to help them with pain. She wants to help them with vitality. She wants to help them get a good night's sleep, like me, right? Okay, that's why we start our business. But the thing is that if we can't sell, we can't serve. And that the problem with selling is that we think about, you know, car salesmen, and we think about people that are scamming for sales, and we say, we don't want to be like that. And so what happens? We don't want to be like that, but then we don't ask anybody to be our client. And when I say we, I'm talking about women with big hearts that are on a mission, just like you. And what I want to do today is hopefully shift your thinking about selling, and also give you some super tips and some ideas that you can embrace to support you in increasing your sales and your revenue. Because guess what, my friend? Your business is supposed to be your bliss. And the only way it's your bliss is if you have a steady stream of revenue in the door, and you also have been able to keep and create and cultivate some financial surplus for when maybe there's a dip during the year. Certain months of the year, and pay attention to this, may not be as prevalent in your business. Make sure you have your attention on that. And that's what surplus is for. Or let's say you want to go on a nice vacation, and of course, hopefully you can cultivate ways for revenue to still be coming in the door when you're on vacation, which there are many, and I love to do this. I took mostly a staycation in July. I did go away for a little bit, but I didn't do any teaching. I didn't do any sales conversations. I didn't do any speeches for July, and still there was tons of revenue in the door, same as other months. Why? Because I have my attention on creating cash flow even when I'm not there. And that's what I want to make sure you're doing, because you're not going to be blissing in your business if you're stressing about how to pay your bills, if you're stressing about how to pay yourself. A lot of people in business don't even pay themselves, or they barely pay themselves. And I don't want that to be you. Okay. Does that sound good? All right. Well, if that sounds good, tell me in the chat, because I know there's a lot of ladies watching this, because Haley is so awesome, and she's done such a great job of cultivating an amazing community with WEN. So let me encourage you to recognize, again, your business is supposed to be your bliss. And if you can't sell, you can't serve. Now, you might say, well, Katerina, I've taken a sales class. Okay, good. So did I when I was 19 at fashion school. And I got an A, by the way. And do you think that was the last time I took sales class? No. Why? My bells are ringing. Why? Because wherever you were the last time you took a sales class, it's time for you to take another one. Or take these tips that we're discussing here, because here's the goal, okay, with selling, with speaking, with social media, with writing, with doing Instagram reels, with doing clubhouse rooms. The goal is not only to do them. The goal is to master them. Did you hear that? The goal is to master them. And even with sales, I've been doing my thing for 28 years, but I've been really teaching selling big time several times a year for the last couple of years. And do you know that I think I'm so much better now than I was before? Why? Because more focus on it, more focus on it, more focus on it. And like any of these other skills I mentioned, there are always little nuances and little things to do that can make a big difference. And the more you add all of these other little things and you make them standard operating procedure in your business, I hope you have lots of those in your business, the more you will grow and thrive. Not just with your selling, with everything. You know, when I started my business before as a speaker and a coach, and before I was doing coaching, I was more of a runaround speaker, run around the country, do some trainings, and you would get booked for just one day. And it felt like, and they would say, oh, that's so great, Katerina, thank you. I'd say, when do you want to have me back? And they'd say, next year or 2 years. I'd say, okay, that's pretty tough. And so there was a lot of selling that I did. But what I recognized is every day you got to get a new job when you're a speaker. And you know what? In your business, every day you want to have attention on selling. And here's why. There's new potential clients coming in. There's clients that are buying from you and working with you, but then some of them are going to graduate. Some of them are going to have life transition. Some of them, their situation is going to change. And so if you don't have attention on always bringing in some new people, then the people that are with you now, guess what? They're going to be moving on and your revenue is actually going to go down rather than go up. Okay? So please, please, please recognize that you want to have SOPs, and you want to have attention on sales constantly in your business. And by the way, my friend, if you have your own business and you do not have a sales team, guess what, sweetheart? It's you, okay? It's you. And how's your sales team doing? How's your sales force doing right now? Now, sometimes people say, Katerina, that sounds great. I would love to join you for XYZ, but I don't have the revenue. And I say to somebody, okay, well, how many sales conversations did you have this week? How many people did you ask to be your client? And you know what the answer usually is? 1 or 0. My friend, you want to set a goal for how many people you're going to talk to every week, and you want to meet that goal, and then you want to raise the goal next week. Now, and here's the thing, not all those people are going to become Insta clients. By the way, there's 4 kinds of clients in your business. There's the Insta client. You talk to them. They say, bing, bing, I'm ready to get started. They get started. That's an Insta client. Don't you love that? Mwah! I'm looking for more Insta clients. Hopefully you're looking for Insta clients. We love Insta clients. But here's the thing. If you're only looking for Insta clients, I'm sorry for you. Here's why. Because only about 25% of people make Insta buying decisions. Did you hear that? Only about 25% of people make Insta buying decisions. So if you're only looking for the Insta client, you're leaving about 75% of your potential clients out in the cold. The second kind of client is the slow cooker. They take 3 to 6 months to get started. Then there's the super slow cooker. They take up to a year. And then there's the super, super slow cooker. They take more than a year. And guess what? When they close, it is so sweet. But the only way they're going to get started with you is if you are consistently staying in touch with them. Now, you've probably heard, because Haley is queen of social media. You've probably heard content is king, right? And I agree with that. But let me tell you something. Engagement is the queen of everything. Engagement is the queen of everything. And I don't just mean social media engagement. I mean engaging with you and your business, inviting people to your workshop, inviting them to your clubhouse room, making sure they're following you on Insta when you're doing your reels, making sure you're reaching out to them personally. If you've ever heard me talk about how to fill your workshops with ease, what you will know is personal invitations are what get people to have their smile on the screen with you in a Zoom room. Because social media and all of these marketing messages we get every day are not personal. But if you call Sheila and you say, hey, Sheila, I'd love for you to come to my workshop. Well, Sheila, guess what? Her mama raised her right, I bet. So she's got to make a decision before she reaches back to you. And she will. And then she comes to your workshop. She's engaging with you. She sees you have more value to bring. And now you can ask her to be your client. And if she's not ready, if she's not an Insta, then that's okay. You look at all the different social media ways to stay connected to her, but you also want to talk with her again. You want to invite her again. You want to have other ways for her to engage with you again. And here's why. Why is engagement the queen of everything? Engagement is the queen of everything because nobody will ever buy from you until you have built influence. Did you hear that? Nobody will ever buy from you unless you have built influence. Now, what is influence? Influence is the ability to sway or alter people's thoughts, their beliefs, and their actions. Isn't that beautiful? You have the power to sway people's thoughts, beliefs, and actions with your massive value. Now, let's get to the equation right now for how to build influence. Because remember, nobody's going to buy from you until you build influence. Okay? So the first part of the equation is visibility. Now, visibility. I bet you're pretty good at that. That's showing up. It's not just showing up, though. It's also making yourself known. If you're the kind of person that shows up in a Zoom room and your video's off the whole time, sweetheart, you might have been there, but you didn't show up. If you go out networking, but you come late and you leave early and you don't talk to anybody, that's not showing up. Showing up is making sure everybody in the room knows you're there and they know who you are. How do you do that if you're not the speaker? You ask a question. You make a comment. You make yourself known. That's visibility. Now, here's the exciting thing about visibility. It all counts. Your emails count. Your social media posts count. Your workshops and your clubhouse rooms and your Instagram reels and your phone calls and your texts and your direct messaging. It all counts. And here's why. Bing, bing. I love this. In psychology, there's something called the Law of Familiarity. And what the Law of Familiarity tells us is the more we see your beautiful face, the more we hear your name in other people's conversations or the name of your business, the more we see your posts, we see your logo, that we see anything from you, the more your potential clients feel like they know you. They begin to trust you. And you are building massive influence, even if they've never talked to you. Now, this is important because I want to give you another guiding principle. With sales, with social media, with your business overall. Guiding principle alert, guiding principle alert. Do what works, even when it's not working. Did you hear that? Do what works, even when it's not working. And what does that mean? Well, that's the third part of the influence equation. There's visibility, there's value, which we're going to talk about next, And the third part of the influence equation is consistency, because it is that visibility with that consistency, bringing in your value, that builds massive influence and has that beautiful law of familiarity go to work for you. Bing, bing. Okay, now let's talk about value. We've talked about visibility. The second part of the influence equation is value. Value. Value is all those things you would think of: your education, your expertise, your experience, the great results you get for your clients. Yes, all of that is value. But here's what I want to really shine the spotlight on. You have a whole nother huge amount of value that you may actually have turned down based on your professional and even your personal life experience. And this is what I call your heart skills. Your heart skills. Your heart skills. What are your heart skills? Your kindness, your graciousness, being a good listener, genuinely caring, empathy. All of these beautiful skills. Now, I don't want you to wear your heart on your sleeve. I want you, and I'm recommending you wear your heart all over your business, everywhere. In your client care, in your client delivery, in your sales conversations, everywhere. Wear your heart. Now, you may, as I mentioned, have worked in a corporation or an institution or have an upbringing that told you it's not okay. It's not okay to be emotional. People even say, don't get involved with your clients. It's not personal. It's business. Did you hear that? Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. Business is totally personal. I bet, right? Think about your business. Do you care about your clients? Do you care that your clients get great results from working with you? Do you want them to have your products or services significantly uplift their lives? Yes, you do. And that's why I want you to not just recognize the value of using your heart skills. I want to encourage you to wear your heart all over your business. Sounds good? Okay. Now, I'm assuming it sounds good because I know it sounds good, and hopefully you're listening and you're embracing this idea. Now, so, okay, Katerina, sounds good. How do I do that? Well, right now, I'm going to give you a 1 minute, maybe 2, 1 minute masterclass. And you say, I think I can give a masterclass in 1 minute? I can, on acknowledgement. Now, acknowledgement is different than being complimented. Of course, oh, we love your hair. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I love your earrings. Thank you so much. That's a compliment, right? Compliments are great. We love those compliments. But here's what an acknowledgement is. An acknowledgement recognizes something somebody's done. Ideally, if you're doing even better, you recognize how they're being while they're doing it. And if you're really good at acknowledgement, the pièce de résistance of acknowledgement is that you also let people know how it impacts you. For example, I could say, Haley, bing, bing, thank you so much for inviting me to be on your summit today. I'm your special event. I am blissing. Thank you, thank you. I thank Haley for what she did. Okay, but if I say, Haley, thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for always thinking of me and being so gracious with your invitation. That's not only thanking her for what she did, it's thanking her for how she's being while she's doing it, right? Even better. But then if I say, Haley, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. Thank you for always being so gracious and kind to think of me. And you make me so happy and you make me bliss to be included in your event. Not only letting Haley know what she did, how she did it, but most importantly, how she impacted me. Now, this is important. Now, you say, Katerina, you're supposed to be talking about sales. Why are we talking about acknowledgement? Here's why. Because when someone gets on the phone with you and they know that part of the conversation is for you to invite them to be your client or to buy your products, there's consciously or unconsciously, there's a little bit of prove it to me. and they're a little bit defensive, even if they're not coming across that way. As soon, though, as you genuinely acknowledge someone, they feel seen, they feel gotten, and that sales defensiveness begins to ease and wash away. And now you're not having a sales conversation, you're having a personal conversation. I invite you to embrace this as one of the ways of demonstrating that you're using your heart skills in your selling, that you're wearing your heart all over your business. And this way, people that are your potential clients are going to feel like they have a relationship with you, that you're not just a salesperson. Because, my friend, you have massive value to bring. There's a lifetime supply of people to serve. I want to invite you to be loud and proud about your massive value. If you want to sell more and serve more, invite more people to work with you. Bing, bing. Thank you, Haley. Thank you, everybody.
Bing, bing, bing. I love it so much. Thank you for your wisdom and sharing your amazing wisdom here, Katerina. It makes a difference. Every single time I hear it, I'm like, can we say it louder for those in the back, please?
That's right.
Thank you so much. How would somebody get in touch with you if they wanted to find you?
Yeah. Well, we have a great page set up. You can go to my website, KaterinaRando.com. The thing to recognize, though, is I have a KaterinaRando.com/links page that is kind of a secret, that we only talk about places like this when I speak, where you can get tons of free gifts. We haven't had time today to talk about all the different support tools that we have. If you go there, you will see videos and checklists and all kinds of things. KaterinaRando.com/gifts to support you with your selling, with your speaking, with your scaling, and of course, with your blissing in your business.
That is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Haley. Always a pleasure and a privilege to be with you. Bing, bing.
Thank you. Bing, bing. And now we are adding our next speaker. Welcome, Mary. So glad to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
This is a lot of fun. I am excited to have you speaking today. I cannot wait to hear your talk. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the stage. Welcome, Mary.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Haley. I appreciate it. Boy, these have been some awesome conversations. It's just amazing. And I see my fan is going to cause a problem. I'm going to cut it off. I know we're live. This is real life, right? So I love all the different ways that we can approach life and approach our businesses. And I love the talk about how our health and nutrition is not just about our bodies, but about our minds and our spirits. I loved all of Katerina's great tips on how selling is personal, right? It's not just business, it's personal. And one of the things that I talk about a lot is that our stories matter, and they matter because we are God's Wonder Woman. Now, I am very much a faith-based creature, so I am going to talk a little bit about my faith today. One of the things I've realized over the last year and a half or so is that people were really struggling spiritually. And if we're struggling spiritually in our identity and in how we move through the world, we can't be successful at a business. And so I'm going to approach things a little bit from that perspective. I think one of the most beautiful and powerful stories in the Bible is about the Samaritan woman at the well. And I think even if you're not familiar with it, you've heard about the story of how a woman who was a sinner met Jesus at the well. He extended her his grace, even though he let her know that he knew everything about her, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? He extended her his grace. And then the most beautiful part of the story is that she in turn extends that grace to the very people who had shunned her and made her feel like an outcast. That's what we do when we offer what we have to the world, right? We let people know that they have value. We let them know that their value is within themselves, right? And our value as spiritual beings. Value because we're God's Wonder Women, not Wonder Woman defined by the world, because I don't know about you, but that has not worked for me over the years. And, you know, God knows everything about all of us too. And when he looks into our hearts, he sees all the things, all the bad things we say to ourselves, all the ways that we don't love on ourselves. And he gets it. He gets it. But he's able to see beyond all that to realize what he wants us to realize about ourselves. That we are uniquely and divinely designed Wonder Women, right? So one morning, a good while ago, I was having my coffee on the deck. I do that almost every morning, weather permitting. And it was earlier than usual, but I was still surprised to see that stars were still out. And it reminded me that summer is coming to an end, right? Fall's fast approaching. The year end is coming. Winter will be here soon. And I found myself marveling, incredulous at how quickly the year is flying by. You know, all those goals we make in January, all those vision board items. Well, it's August, almost September in a couple days. Now, I'm not going to lie. I almost defaulted to that list of all the things still undone, not completed, never started. Can you relate to that? Has it ever happened to you? You know, that feed that can run on repeat and starts to spin up? I'm not disciplined enough. I'm not organized. I'm not persistent enough. I'm not a good enough wife, mom, boss, employee, human. Maybe I'm just not enough. So I gazed up at the moon and remembered whose I was and changed the conversation. Be gentle with yourself. You carry too many burdens on your own. You worry about too many things you can't control. Be kinder to yourself. You take on too much blame. And sometimes we just have to surrender, right? We have to let it all go because I am God's Wonder Woman. I've been reminding myself that the grief that's almost palpable in the world, I know we're all feeling it. It's an underlying stress, right? We hear about all the daily updates from the deaths of the pandemic, and now even lately, everything going on in Afghanistan, and issues at the border, just everything on a 24-hour news cycle. I realized, though, that I could rely on my experiences from the past to help me get through that and to help me just get through every day. After my mom died, I went to a really dark place and I had a hard time. I just kind of shut down. I went through all the daily actions of life. I did what I needed to get done. I just went through the motions, but I'd shut down. And I got to thinking about how this must be with all the rise in mental illness reports, mental illness issues, right? Reports, depression and stress. I thought about all the things that we were, as women especially, that we were asked to do, you know, homeschool mom while you're working from home, camp counselor, playmate, entertainer. I hope some lessons learned through the time of my grief about how God took me through the grief to help me find hope and healing will carry over into our current life today, into the situations that in some cases we're still in the midst of. You know, I hope we realize that it's probably okay to let kids watch way more videos than we ever said we would allow, right? And declare daily quiet time for everybody, an hour away from the screens, everyone off to themselves. And it's okay to have pizza a lot of nights of the week. Or maybe you were alone during a lot of this and you were way more isolated and are really struggling, really having some mental health issues because there's no one there like to keep an eye on you. And since we're not going out, it's easy to put on a brave face online, right? So we need to be aware of what's going on with ourselves and to get help if we need it, to reach out to friends, reach out to coworkers, reach out to a counselor. Self-care is so important. And we need to remember that we are valuable and valued. We're important to ourselves and to the world, but we're important to the people in our lives, right? And we want to make sure that we're showing up as the best that we can be. We can't solve every problem that's been created because of this pandemic, but there are so many things we can do to get through. So many great self-care things. For my writer friends, I've really been encouraging them to write. Not even write a book if they're not up for that, but just to write, to document this time, become the historians of this time. And even, you know, if you're not a writer, journal through it. Start a blog, post on social media. Do whatever you need to do to reach out, but also to encourage, right? That's the most important thing because we all want to be encouragers. We want to make a difference in the world. And if we are in business, we want to let people know that we get what they're going through and that our businesses hopefully are intended to help them with some aspect of their lives, whether it's a physical product, whether it's coaching, no matter what it is. We want our businesses to be significant in the world. And when we're transparent and let people know that we understand what they're going through, they're more likely to know, like, and trust us, right? Which are the important reasons that people buy from us. We want them to realize we get it. And we're out here trying to make a way just like everybody else. And so it lets people know that we're human too. And that we have this great business focused just on them. That I look for people who let me know that they get me. They get what I'm going through. Because those are the people that are going to give me the best quality of service. That's my belief. So, you know, if you're out of work, there are all kinds of businesses you can start to get through until you find a new job or to just start to make a new living, become a full-time entrepreneur, right? Start a business. Reach out to your friends for ideas of what they think you'd be good at if you don't already know. Ask your friends to help you as you start the process. Some may already have, like some of the great speakers we've had on today, have great tips and suggestions. You could sign up for some of their programs, or you could just reach out to your friends and ask them for advice to help you get started. You don't need to have a whole business plan to start a business. You just need to have an idea, and then you need to implement it. One of my favorite coaches always says, all you really need is a flyer and a link. And sometimes you even only need a link, right? That's my friend Stevie Mills, who's a wonderful, dynamic entrepreneur and woman of God. And I always remember that when I start to overthink things. All I need is a flyer and a link. And probably all I need is a link, right? Once you get started, once you start getting some clients, then you can start building in systems and programs and websites and all of that, right? But you don't need all that to get started. And that's the good news, right? So the thing that I hope that will resonate with you is that nameless woman at the well, that we never learn her name, but her story is so important. That unnamed woman at the well is me. And it's you. Each of us with our own hardships and burdens and challenges, sins, each of us thirsty. I believe she doesn't have a name so that our own names can be inserted into her story. Our life can be transposed into her life. God doesn't want us to be burdened by this world. He wants us to be filled to overflowing. He wants us to be filled with that living water that was offered to that woman at the well. We're not guaranteed a life without pain or loss or heartbreak or grief. But that part of our story matters because we can turn that part of our story into a roadmap for others who are still at that point in their journey. We've arrived triumphant. We need to reach back and pull others to the point that we are at, right? I always say that it's just like starting out on a trip. We use our navigation to chart the course, right? Someone who is still back in the grief, in the hardship, in the not finding their way, they need someone to help them navigate the waters so that they can also get to a point where they can live abundantly, just like we have learned to. After my mom died several years ago, I went to a really dark place, and it was people who had traveled the journey of grief to come out on the other side, stronger, more empowered, more emboldened, more determined to make their own lives matter, that I was able to find hope and healing. And that's what I hope I am relaying to you today, that your story matters because your worth is as God's Wonder Woman, not relying upon the world and what the world tells us, not focusing on all the hardship and the grief and the pain and the politics and everything else. I hope that you can see yourself through God's eyes, that you can see how amazing, how strong, how courageous, how beautiful you are to Him. And if you could, you would never think or say another mean thing to yourself about yourself, because you are God's incredibly, divinely designed Wonder Woman, thought of before the beginning of creation. And every instant of your life has already been planned out. So you've got this. You can do it because you are a Wonder Woman and your story matters. What words are you speaking over your life into the world? Let's make an agreement right now that we're going to start using a new vocabulary. Hopeful, tenacious, beautiful, determined, strong, courageous, and that we tell that story by how we live our lives in the world. Thank you so much for this platform, Haley. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us today. This has been an amazing message. I appreciate it. And, you know, your words matter.
They do.
Been a recurring theme lately. Your words absolutely matter. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this has been amazing and inspirational. And I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so now we are going to welcome our next speaker to the stage, as it were. Welcome, Vandy. I am so excited to have you here. And I cannot wait to hear what your message is. Vandy has been one of our WEN live speakers and has so much great inspiration and knowledge and such a great perspective and such growth in the last 18 months. It's been really cool to see the transitions from living in an RV and traveling the country to the beginning of COVID and everything else that has happened there. I am stoked to have you here. Welcome, Vandy. I'm going to give you the stage.
Thank you, Haley, and thank you for having me. I was excited. It's a little early over here still. I'm on the West Coast also. So, yeah, trying to juggle this with church and kids and everything else, but I was really excited to be here. So my name is Vandy Flake, and I'll tell you really quick a little bit of my story and my journey. I kind of started and did everything the traditional way, the right way. You know, I knew I grew up in a town of 500. I was the oldest of 7 kids on a little farm. And, you know, I hope you get in there that my dad worked really, really hard and we didn't have a lot of extras. And so I knew I wanted more in my life. And part of that was I wanted to go to college. So I was the first person in my family to graduate from college because I got a scholarship. I did it on my own. I worked really hard. I dove into my career, but then I was sitting in a Franklin Covey class one day. I was about 25. I just got married, had my first baby. I was growing in my career. And I realized I'd almost hit all of my goals except one. But that one was to be an entrepreneur. And I was had pushed it off because I had tried it and I hadn't worked. So I'd kind of pushed it off and hadn't really pursued it. But 5 years later, I was decided to become an entrepreneur and start business. And I did. I'm through the network marketing side, but it really saved me because it gave me goals again. And it surrounded me with a tribe of people. But after 10 years in that and having a lot of success, I was kind of feeling stuck again. And like Haley was saying, we were traveling full-time in an RV, which was our dream. And then COVID happened and everything went up in the air. You know, there was twice I couldn't get food for my family. You know, and we weren't really set up exactly the way we probably should have been to stay long-term in our RV, and things were getting canceled. So we decided to come back to our little hometown in Snowflake, Arizona, and to settle back down. And that's been a really good decision for our kids and stuff, but it did really, really throw me for a loop kind of again, because I had been building on social media as travelers, as like this RV traveling life. So I had to reevaluate and restart myself. And I saw I was struggling a little bit with apathy. And you guys, I want to share a little bit about why I think this is so important here. This is kind of my message today. Number one, depression, mental health is absolutely real. And sometimes it needs professional help. But one of the things that kind of caught me is I found myself when I wasn't either feeling well or I wasn't feeling, I was struggling, you know, to have my head in the right space. One of the things I noticed is there was little things I could do to help get myself and feel better, or I could not do those and I would feel worse. You know, if I wake up with like a little bit of a headache or just tired because the baby didn't sleep well, you know, or something else is going on. I've got a lot of emotions right now that have been weighing down, and I know sometimes they like overwhelm me. And so I have two choices. I can like lay in bed, not take a shower, lay in bed, and I feel miserable the rest of the day. I keep feeling worse and worse and worse. But sometimes if I do these little things, and I found them, and I call them my jelly beans of happiness, because there's a little comic of this guy holding a jar. It looks like he's holding jelly beans, and it says happiness. And the guy walks up to him in the comic and says, "Where'd you find that?" "I've been looking everywhere for happiness." And the first guy says, "I made it myself." And that triggered, anyway, I found this quote and I found like an article, and it all just kind of came together. When you start looking for stuff, sometimes you find the help like every different avenue, from Facebook jokes, which was the comic, to articles I was reading, to people's talks. It all kind of started coming together of finding this happiness. And looking everywhere, you have to create it yourself every single day. And so that's one of the things I have been, attempting to do in my journey and sharing on WEN is this Project Daily Happiness. Little things we can do every single day to be happy. And part of that, I think, is having, your big visions, having your big goals. So you have an idea of what you want. And sometimes when you put that out there, it happens that way. I've been a reader since I learned that you could put letters together and make stories. I read more books than I watched movies, and even from the time I was little. And so I always wanted to be an author. And I put it out there. And last year, you guys, I was able to release the book, Yes, I Can, 15 Mindset Secrets from Inspiring Entrepreneurs Around the World. And yeah, it's just been really cool when you put those goals out there, how things can fall into place. But how do we get from our big picture to our every single day little things? And so one of the things that really, really I had to realize is happiness is not a destination. It's a way of life. We have to choose joy. We have to choose to be happy every single day. And there's ways we can increase our happiness or decrease it depending on how we're doing. And you guys, I am not 100% on this ever. Some days I do better. Some days I still struggle. I have, and life is always going to bombard us with things and that are hard. Other people are going to make decisions that are going to break your heart for them or for their children. And sometimes we have to pick up the pieces, and we don't always know that. And so finding these little happiness nuggets every single day. So the first one I want to talk about, you guys, is the Feed Your Soul. And I love this concept of taking the time to study my scriptures. In the Bible, it says, be not afraid 365 times. And that every time I hear that quote or find those scriptures, it intrigues me, because I think sometimes when we're in that fear mindset and we're not where we need to be, we're not growing our business, we're not spreading good in the world, we're not spreading kindness because we're focused on ourselves, we're focused on our fear. And to get that, prayer, meditation, reading good things, it always helps. The next thing that I really, really love on, this journey that I've been finding is service. And service is getting out of our own way and helping somebody else. And it's so much. So yesterday they were doing a big, political meet the candidates, and it had a lot of different people in our community. And we had been asked by one of our friends to come in and help. My husband went over. I was doing soccer games, and I was going to come over afterwards. But in the middle of all of this, my son hit his head at the soccer game. I had to take him into the doctor and get it glued because he had split his head open. He had, my mom had a funeral, so I ended up with extra kids. And so I had extra kids in my house. I had this son, and I can't do that. I should just stay home and cancel. Nobody would have been upset at me. But I took just the baby. I left my daughter, because all of the kids were old enough to kind of hang out for a little bit by themselves. And my daughter's 16. But I took the baby and I went over there just for a few minutes, I thought. Anyway, I ended up hanging out in the booth, and I got to meet people and I got to help. And it was more uplifting for me. I didn't really even feel like I was serving other people, but I just think about how important it is that we do little things, even if it's just paying for the guy's coffee or seeing somebody on, Instagram or social media where they share something that means something to you. You may not be able to buy their course right away, but one lady has this thing of it's, buy someone coffee. If they touch your heart, if they've inspired you, grab their Venmo account and send them $5. And as I've started to try to incorporate that into my goals, even into my budget of things, so I can just do a little bit of kindness. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't. Sometimes I think we wait until we can make this huge impact instead of doing something extra. Can you add $3 more to your tip when you get food? Because that may make a difference to the waiter. Can you double your tip? And stuff like that. So those little things we can do that really can inspire and bless somebody else. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but just try to do something outside of yourself. And with COVID, some of us had to be really creative. In Clubhouse, I'm following a club, and this month is kindness. So every day there's a challenge to do something kind. And some of the times I've done them, sometimes I haven't. But it's been fun to think about them and to do it, because it's just spreading that kindness every day. The next thing that really, really helps me get back into that mindset of choosing happiness every day is to choose gratitude. So every day I try to write in my little planner just a couple bullet points, and I write it either in my planner or in my special gratitude journal. I read the book The Magic last year. It's a sequel to The Secret. If you haven't heard of it, it's excellent. But just every day, a few things I can do for gratitude, because when I get in that mindset of what I'm grateful for, it helps me get back into that happiness mindset and how blessed my life is. And so we can do stuff like that. Limit screen time. I have noticed, and this may not be all for you guys or whatever, but when I am watching a whole bunch of movies, and it doesn't really matter what they are or what they aren't, my mindset is not always as good. So when I cut those screen time and I spend more time with my family, more time intentional with my time, in my business, in my time, it gets me back in the right mindset to do stuff. Now, building a business on social media has had a balance. And so one of the things I have done that's helped me is, because I do a lot of stuff on my screen to build my business for on social media. But I've noticed that I can either be building my business, connecting with people, giving back, like, I just forgot her name. Anyway, was talking about, but of connecting with people, of, interacting and having that solid connection where people are going to buy from us when we influence them, when we connect with them. And, some of that is just, making comments on their things, sharing, posts or reels that make a difference to you. So when I set my timer and I say, okay, for 15 minutes, I am going to only go comment and give love on people's posts. And so I go and do that. And to me, that helps me go in from where I am being intentional with my time on social media to build my business and to give back that love, digital currency of love. Or it can just be a time suck, and all of a sudden I look down and 3 hours have gone by and I haven't posted my reel. I haven't posted anything. I haven't really loved on anybody's page. And so for me, that really helps. So I'll sit there, I'll do a power hour, and I'll set the timer. 15 minutes, I'm going to give, I call it giving love. I love on other people's posts. 15 minutes, I'm going to get a reel done and get it posted. 15 minutes, I'm going to go in, and I've been joining like a reel group. So we did a 14-day challenge. Tomorrow we're starting a 21-day challenge. So you have to post your own reel, and then you have to go through everybody else's and like and comment them, because it boosts all of the algorithms and stuff. And it's really been good for me, because doing reels is really outside my comfort zone. Doing this has been outside of my comfort zone. So getting back in that habit and staying there has really, really helped me. The next one, I kind of touched on this earlier, but be present. So the next, number 6 on staying focused on my journey to happiness. So 1 was feed your soul, 2 was service, 3 was gratitude, 4 was, I think I totally forgot 4, spend time outside. Get outside, you guys. Spend some time in nature. Get some sunshine. Stop and smell the flowers. Watch your chickens. I have chickens. So going out there or opening my window sometimes and just looking out and watching what they're doing. They're just so funny. Going out and feeding them they all like go crazy. It's just one of my favorite parts of the day. Because we are basically plants with complex emotions. We need sunshine and we need water. So don't ever forget that. Number 5 was limit your screen time. Number 6 is be present and really intentionally be intentional about your time. I was probably better at this when I was working full time because I only had a limited amount of time with my children. So I was very focused to make that time high quality and stuff. Now that I'm with my kids a lot more, I notice sometimes like the whole day will go by and I'm like, did I even hug my kids? Did I even talk to them? Or were we all just kind of like in the house living in our own little world? And so being present has really, really helped me. Number 7 is connect with others. I talked a little bit about this with service, but try to schedule, and I just try to do it a little bit every day, whether it's sending a text, sending a chat, scheduling some time to talk to a friend, but reconnecting with somebody, even if it's, hey, thank you for sharing that post. It touched my heart today. It just has to be that simple, but when we connect with other people, we are here on this earth, like the woman at the well, when I'm going to go back to Mary's story because that's one of my favorite stories. But when she realized who was talking to her, she went and spread the news through the whole community, and told everybody so that she could spread the word because it had connected with her heart. Number 8 is take care of your body. And I could spend hours talking about this, you guys. But every single day, we can choose to do anything we want. There's ladies that are in the gym every single day, and their bodies look a lot better than mine. Okay, but move your body. Mine are simple. I try to tell everyone, keep it simple. Move your body every day. What that is for you may not be the same for me, but move your body. Eat good foods. I know myself, I feel better when I take care of my body and I eat the foods that my body likes. When I avoid the foods that, give me a tummy ache, that make me hurt, take care of your body. Make sure you're drinking enough water. We need to have enough water. We need to take care of ourselves. My business is in the health and nutrition, so I try to spend every time learning more about it so I can be a better ambassador of health. I can share more knowledge because I've connected with different doctors, different nutritionists, and have that, knowledge of why, I recommend certain things for our bodies because it does make a difference in our bodies and doing that education. And the last one that really, really helps me is to look outward because right now, I've had a lot going on. I have 2 siblings that are struggling with addiction and mental illness, and there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of heaviness. There's a lot of heartache happening there. There's a lot of heartache happening in the world right now. But when I can look outward and not just look in my own little world, but when I can stop and look outward and look and see what else I can do to bless other people, it really, really has made a huge difference in my life. And so those are things that have helped me. You guys, there's times I don't want to get out of bed. There's times I don't want to get on the screen. And there's times I don't. Like there's times I fail and don't do my goals. But when I do those and I stay that consistency, it never fails that I've touched somebody's heart. And if every day I can just bless one person, then whether it's with my products, with a story, with an inspirational quote, and I can help all of us take better care of ourselves, then that's a success. And, I'm not here. I've made it a good success in my life, financially wise. I want to be significant though, and I want to change other people's lives and be able to bless other people and have a significant impact on that. And so that's where I'm very grateful to be here. And thank you, Haley and Tish, for having me and reminding me to get connected because I've had a lot going on with all of my world that I was really grateful for Tish for her consistent and persistent emails to keep me back in the right track.
I love that so much. Thank you for being an amazing, inspirational speaker today. I always feel like with these WEN-Talk events that I get to sit here for the 2 hours and really listen and just absorb all of this amazing knowledge and energy. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me. It was great. I didn't get to listen to everybody. I'll have to go catch some of the replays, but they were inspiring, the ones I got to connect with. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks, guys. Take care.